If you're anything like me, you would absolutely hate making mistakes. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the 5 mistakes that a lot of first home buyers make and how you can avoid them. We're shooting here for the very first time in our brand new office. We've just got the camera gear set up, so really excited to be in the new space. We're going to get it set up so well over the next couple of weeks, and we're going to have a really great recording studio, but thought it would be an amazing opportunity, first day in the new office, to get an awesome video out there for you. So unfortunately, a lot of first-time buyers do make mistakes when they purchase their first home. So I don't want you to make that mistake if you're in that position where you're just about to buy your first home. So today we're going to talk about some of these mistakes, and we're going to talk about exactly how you can avoid them. The first and the biggest mistake that most first timers make is they buy where they know. They buy where they're comfortable investing or buying their first home. And, this is obvious. Everybody wants to buy a home in the area that they live. This is what we've been told to do for such a long period of time from our teachers, from our parents, from mentors and things like that. So it's not uncommon for a lot of people to be buying within about 5 kilometers of where they grew up for their first home. But that doesn't mean that it's the right place for you to be buying right now. So you need to make sure that you understand why you're buying a property and exactly what you want that property to do for you, short, medium, and long term, because that's really going to dictate where you need to be buying that property. Just because you grew up in the area doesn't mean that it's the right place to be investing. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you are buying your first home. Sometimes you may need to go outside of your comfort zone to buy in an area that's going to make a lot more sense for your strategy, short, medium, and long term. The second mistake that a lot of people make is they unfortunately take advice from the wrong people. They're taking advice from parents, uncles, aunties, friends, parents, people that may or may not have been successful from property. And you just need to make sure that you take absolutely every bit of advice that you hear with a grain of salt. Even these videos, you've got to take everything that Ben and myself say with a grain of salt, because you've got to create your personal strategy. You've got to create a plan for your life, and you don't need to be taking advice from the people that aren't living in your shoes or that are trying to chase their own journey. Obviously the best way to avoid this is to find people or somebody that's on the journey that you want to be on, that's doing what you want to do, that's working towards financial freedom, that's been very successful from property investing, and listen to what they have to say, because they've been around the bushes, they've done it before, and they're walking the path that you're going to start walking as well. So make sure that you're taking advice from the right people, but also make sure that you're taking every little piece of advice with a grain of salt as well. Now, the third thing that people make mistakes with is they do little to no research. Because property has always been such a high-performing asset in Australia, so many people just buy a house. And yeah, it may grow in value over time, but if you're investing, you really need to treat it like a business, because you want to be getting the best return on your investment longer term. So give it the time that it deserves. Give it the research that it deserves, because what you're working towards is replacing your current income. You're already trading 40, 50 hours per week to earn your income of, $80,000 to $100,000, whatever it is. You're investing to try and replace that income. So, it doesn't need the 30 to 50 hours that you may give at the moment, but it definitely deserves a little bit of time. You need to read the books. You need to listen to the podcast. You need to do your research. You need to talk to people that have done what you want to do, and make sure that you understand exactly what you should be buying, exactly where you should be buying, exactly how much you should be spending, so that you're moving closer to where you want to be in the future, and not just willy-nilly buying a property and hoping that it's all going to work out in the future. Make sure that you give it the time, the research that it deserves, to avoid the mistake that so many first-time buyers make. Now, the fourth thing, which is really unfortunate, is a lot of first-time buyers overpay. So they pay above market value for the property. Now, a real estate agent is a pro. They can see first timers, they can see newbies coming from an absolute mile away. And guess what they're thinking in their mind? Ching, baby, here we go. I'm going to take this guy for a ride. What they're working for their seller. They're working to get the best result for their seller. They aren't working for you. So make sure that you've done your research, that you know exactly where market value is, and make sure that you're not getting played like a fiddle from some of these real estate agents. I've got an amazing example of this. My auntie actually recently purchased her first house last year, and she went to the open for inspection. She loved the place. She was blown away, and the real estate agent was saying to her that they previously had a contract on the property that fell over on finance for $435,000, and that they were expecting to sell the property for $440,000. Now, during the inspection, I wasn't there. My auntie checked the property out with my mum, and she was over the moon excited about the place. She's like, oh my God, I can really see myself here. I love this, I love that. And she was ready to sign a contract that day for $440,000. Now, luckily my mum, knowing what she knew, she said, Jill, calm down a little bit, you know, let's play the game, do what we need to do. And I actually stepped in there to give her help negotiating on her first property. So she was willing to pay $440,000 that day. We ended up getting negotiating, and we picked the property up for $416,000. Ridiculous. You know, she's made a $24,000 savings in a couple of days just from being able to negotiate properly. So just because a real estate agent's setting your expectations somewhere, that doesn't mean that that's exactly where it needs to be. A lot of first timers, when they come to us for help, you know, when we're negotiating, we start with a really low offer sometimes, and a lot of people go, why are you putting in an offer so low? Why, you know, they're going to hate us. They're going to send us away. These real estate agents do this day in, day out. Trust me, you're not going to be the hardest negotiator that they've ever dealt with. It's not going to be the toughest deal for you. So, you know, throwing out a low offer doesn't mean anything. Worst case scenario, you're not going to get a counter offer. You know, these real estate agents play this game all the time. They know exactly what they need to do. So make sure that you don't overpay. Make sure that you don't get too emotionally attached to the property in the beginning. Make sure that you don't make the real estate agent aware of that as well. The fifth mistake that I wanted to talk about today that a lot of first timers make is they buy the wrong asset. So they may get sold into a house and land package. They may get sold into an off the plan unit. They may get sold into an off the plan townhouse. This can really, really, really hurt you longer term, because generally when you're buying in house and land packages or off the plan, you're going to be overpaying because the property marketer is making money, the developer is making money, plus the builder is making money there. So you're paying for the commissions, you're paying to keep these businesses afloat, and generally you end up overpaying for these types of assets. So once again, it always comes back to the research. It always comes back to the plan. When you start looking, you should know what you should be looking for. And we know that high quality metro markets outperform regional markets over the longer term. So you want to be focusing in those assets. We know that houses outperform units over the longer period of time. So we focus on houses with land. We know that the closer you are to the CBD, the stronger that the capital growth has been longer term as well. So you've got to look at all of these things and make sure you incorporate it into your strategy. Now, obviously, borrowing capacity comes into it, and there are some certain constraints there. And, you know, with the new grants that you can get building a new home, obviously there's a lot of money to be saved there and help you get into the market a little bit sooner, which is great. And I'm all for it. Just make sure that you've done your research. Make sure that you're not overpaying. Make sure that you are getting into the right asset. Make sure you know what you want this asset to do for you longer term so you can get the best possible results. So there's the 5 mistakes that a lot of first time buyers make. They buy where they know. They take advice from the wrong people. They don't do much research. They overpay, and they buy the wrong asset. So make sure that that's not you. Make sure that you do the research. We've got so many videos on our YouTube channel which educate you on how to buy the right asset, how to find the right markets to be purchasing in, how to not overpay, all of these different things that a lot of first timers do. So you can go out there, you can get the research so that you go out and get an amazing result to invest with confidence. Thanks for listening, guys.